What's good, everybody? Welcome into Early Edge Prime Time. We're going to be here until right up to kickoff. Bucs-Cowboys, Sunday Night Football. And if tonight is anything like today, we are going to be in for a crazy, crazy night. So a little housekeeping before I bring in the stars of the show. I need 700 likes. And if we get that, then we will give out several Madden codes, Xbox and PlayStation. If we get to 500 likes, that's how you get the donkey parlay. So take the time right now, go and hit that like button, and then get back into the chat and just start chatting away. Now, also in the chat, we want to know, because I think this is the craziest week one that we've seen maybe ever. What was the craziest game from a betting perspective that you saw today? Put it into the chat. Was it the Colts and Texans playing to a 20 tie? Was it the Eagles closed at -6, up 17, third quarter, couldn't cover? Steelers up 17-3. Bengals score late. Extra point blocked. What? And then Steelers win in overtime. 49ers up 10-0. Bears then blanked them 19-10. It was game after game. Patrick Mahomes, apparently he's not that good. How about 360 yards, 5 touchdowns? It was crazy. So let's go around. And as I introduce everybody, I want your answer. Mikey, live from Nashville, Tennessee. What was your most surprising outcome from the early games today?
I would say the total, for me, it was actually the Eagles. I was kind of surprised that they let the Lions hang around and come back into that game and kind of be relevant there. They had a spot where it looked like they were just going to absolutely rout them and run away with it. I found it interesting that they let them come back in, and I found it interesting that I'm blanking on the Lions on their home field. I found it interesting that they continued to fight, similar to what we just saw in the Titans game as well. That Giants team being down multiple scores at halftime, the way that they fought back and the way Tennessee was unable to finish that game off, that was pretty surprising to me.
Yeah, it was. The late games, by the way, the Giants go for 2. They hold Tennessee to a field goal. They miss it. They win by 1 late. Chargers stop the Raiders. They win by 5, and the Chiefs 44-21. And the Vikings looked fantastic today, beating the Packers 23-7. Alex, let me come to you. What was your most surprising from a betting perspective today?
Yeah, it was just an absolutely wild opening week of games across the board, all these games. I was glued to Pittsburgh and Cincinnati, specifically because I was fading Tyler Boyd under 4.5 receptions. Thought I had it locked up in regulation. The game goes to overtime. He has some type of quad or leg injury. I think I'm good there. Then suddenly he comes back in, plays a couple more series, somehow still stays under. So that was a sweet relief for me, and that was just a wild finish. So, yeah, every game I saw just was absolutely nuts.
Nuts. Now, Maestro, the equivalent in the world of sports betting to a player getting injured in week one is survivor pools. And I know it's Circa. I saw a tweet. Their survivor pool after the early games basically cut in half. Cut in half after one round of games. Crazy.
Yeah, 2,850 people are eliminated from that $6 million pool. It's about 6,100 in there. Interesting, though, in the DraftKings survivor pool that I'm in, the tie, we had used it. I mean, we had the Colts. The tie does not eliminate us. But in Circa and many other pools, if your team doesn't win, you are eliminated. So a crazy event for the survivor people. And that's $1,000 out the window, by the way, in week one. The things that jumped out at me, how bad Trey Lance was, even in the conditions. I didn't see any progressions going on. And then Joe Burrow, holding on to the ball too long, skittish, maybe missing the preseason, the surgery and all that. And the O-line was not as improved as I thought it was going to be in terms of the Bengals. Personally, I feel fortunate to get out of here with a 4-2 day on Sportsline because of everything crazy that happened.
Crazy. But by the way, because I respect you about as much as anybody in the world of NFL, well, in anything, but that week one, I don't care who the team is, you don't take an away team in a survivor pool. You're lucky that rule exists because you should have been knocked out. You don't take an away team. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that. All right, throw in the team or the game that you think was the craziest from a betting perspective. Go ahead and put it into the chat. And if you have a question or a prop that you're interested in, we got the best guys right here in the business at your disposal. But let's get into our best bets for the night. As a site.
Coach, I got to pop in real quick and say what my craziest moment of week 1 was.
How did I forget you? My apologies.
I don't
My
know.
apologies.
And you're going to really like this one because my craziest
let's go.
moment, I mean, you guys remember in the offseason whenever we were doing negotiations with Scott Boras and getting the money together, clearing the cap space to sign Alex, Prop Stars, Selesnik, because his demand was just so high. It was a huge asking price. I thought this man was an expert in football, but I mean, we look at the Early Edge Fantasy League and we're just stomping them right now.
What?
90 points?
90 points. Alex.
Yep.
So Jiller, real quick. So I think one of us has a showdown with Alex's team. And I checked in with my general manager just about 15 minutes before showtime. And I said, how are we doing? He goes, well, last time I checked, because I got bored, we're up 45 points. Is that good?
Hey, I'm just going to throw this out there. I'm willing to double or nothing. I will double up our bet, our showdown, coach.
Oh,
with you having a lead.
Jeweler, please. You're damn right. Double it after week 1. I have so much confidence in my general manager, Dave, who, by the way, is watching live. Dave, you're doing an amazing job bearing Alex's fantasy team that we haven't even played yet. All right, let's get into it, guys, because we got a lot of best bets. Tonight's going to be so much fun. Are you kidding me? This is why we love the NFL. We had an incredible, crazy day. And, Mikey, I'm going to start with you. But now we've got the Bucs. Tom Brady didn't even play in the preseason. Missed 2 weeks of the preseason, but yet their win total is higher than the Cowboys. Give us your best bet for tonight, then also kind of your overall view on this game in the first Sunday night game.
Yeah, so best play of the night is going to be Dalton Schultz. I'm attacking his yardage prop here, over 50.5 receiving yards. I like this spot for him. Had a pretty healthy target share last year with significantly more competition than he will see tonight in terms of than he should see tonight and early in the season. Just from his teammates in general, he definitely has moved up the totem pole there. I'm expecting healthy numbers here. I think he will routinely have numbers in the high 50s to low 60s on this yardage prop. So I want to get it in now because I don't think we're going to find a number this low very often in this offense. And then as far as the game goes, I lean towards the Cowboys in the spot. We love primetime home dogs, as we've got one here with me, Chief. And I lean that way. I think the Cowboys are slightly set up better in this individual game. As far as which team will have the better season, I don't think that it's safe to say the Cowboys are going to have a better season overall still. But I do like them tonight, and I still think it was an excellent teaser leg. Again, you can put it in a teaser with something for next week as well if you want to, if you're someone who likes to stretch those games out like that.
Yeah, we also gave away a couple of plays on the morning show for week 2 that RJ gave out. So we could tease the Cowboys with Mikey and then put it with one of RG's plays from earlier today. All right, Alex, you're up. Talk to me. No.
What, am I muted?
You are now. You're good.
Okay, great.
You're good.
Coach, I've got 2 props from tonight. Love them both. First up, we've got Ezekiel Elliott under 71.5 combined rushing and receiving yards. Zeke has been held under this line in 8 of 17 games last year. Cowboys tonight will be without all-pro left tackle Tyron Smith. Tampa Bay last season, coach, gave up the very fewest yards to opposing running backs. They surrendered only 63 yards per game to enemy running backs. That is extremely, extremely impressive. Then they also added Akeem Hicks to their defensive line, who is one of the best interior run defenders in the NFL. Talk about iron sharpening, iron strength, whatever they say. Tony Pollard is also going to be he outplayed Zeke last season. All last season was a much more explosive back. All the metrics say he was a lot better. He's going to get the majority of the passing down work, which is why I like this combo prop. I also would attack the rushing line if you don't have access to the combo prop. But yeah, I love fading Zeke under 71.5 combined rushing and receiving. If you don't have that, I'm okay with just taking his rushing line, which I believe is around 48.5. Next up, I'm agreeing with Mikey.
46.5 is where it's at right now, just for clarification.
Some books it's 48.5. I got it at 48.5 right before I came on here. But Dalton Schultz over 4.5 receptions. Mike's on the yards. I'm on the receptions. Schultz is coming off a career year, had 78 catches, 808 yards, 8 touchdowns. Very strong connection with Dak. Only Mark Andrews and Travis Kelce had more catches than Dalton Schultz last season. I think he's going to improve. His target share is going to increase. No more Amari Cooper. Michael Gallup is not playing tonight. I believe he's going to serve as the number 2 option in the passing game. He eclipsed this in 10 of 17 games last season, including a game against Tampa Bay when he had 6 receptions. Last year, he ran the 3rd most routes among tight ends, commanded the 6th most targets at tight end, ranked 10th in yards per route run. And yeah, he's just a very reliable underneath option. I've been very, very impressed with Dalton Schultz. I think he's going to even increase or improve upon last year's numbers. Love him to get over 4.5 receptions tonight.
I feel like Alex just kind of verbally slapped me just a little bit right there. He's like, why don't you shut up and I'll give out the number that I feel like giving out right there. Maestro, why do you like this so much?
Yeah, I was thrilled to see PropStar's email after I had already emailed, so I don't know if he's piggybacking on my play or not. No, I'm just kidding. 2 things. We talked about the depth chart. Noah Brown is the number 2 receiver. Jalen Tolbert is a healthy scratch. It's CeeDee Lamb and Dalton Schultz tonight, and of course Tony Pollard. Those are the targets. So the targets should be there. 6 catches on 6 targets against the Bucs last season, and the Bucs play a ton of zone. If you look at Dalton Schultz's metrics, they're much better against zone. So everything's setting up. Plus, you can't run on Tampa Bay, as everyone has said, with Hicks and Vita Vea and Golston up front. I don't think you can. We'll find out tonight. So yeah, over 4.5 catches. I saw this on some books at -180, but I was thrilled to see it on MGM at -130.
Yeah, it's already on my book at -175. And for those of you watching in the chat, I know we joke all the time on the show about how my guys move the market, but I think you're seeing it. The Dalton Schultz has moved both of them. You don't think people watch this show and they move the number? Of course they do, because so many of you follow us, and we appreciate that. Now, you mentioned Tony Pollard. Mikey, let me come back to you. Tim in the chat says, how about the Pollard combo prop? 57.5 rushing yards and receiving yards don't have the juice.
I don't mind it, but I would prefer the receiving end of it, just because I think the rushing end is typically pretty difficult to come by against this defense. So I personally would only like the receiving edge, but it is comfortable to have that where you can bust a long run on a draw play, but I prefer the receiving yards.
All right, the receiving yards are 21.5. Alex, go.
Yeah, I really like Tony Pollard, his receiving prop in this game. He's going to get the majority of the passing down work. He was played wide receiver at Memphis in college. He was sort of a hybrid running back, wide receiver. He was extremely efficient last year as a receiver, ranked 2nd in yards per route run amongst running backs who logged at least 130 pass routes. So his role is going to increase. All the offseason tea leaves have been about his role expanding, playing in the slot. As we know, we've been talking about how the Cowboys pass catchers as a whole are undermanned tonight. I think he's going to be heavily featured in the passing game. So I absolutely love his receiving props tonight.
I love his receiving props as well. Alex, you need to check your texts. And apparently you people watching the show don't want to play Madden. You don't want a donkey parlay because right now we're just at 250 likes. And anybody who watched last year, you know that you got to earn it. I'm a man of my word. Both ways. We won't give it out if we don't get to 500 likes. I would encourage you to go do that because it's a lot of fun. It's usually plays. What's it paying tonight, Mikey? What's your donkey parlay paying tonight?
Depends on which one ends up getting given out, but it's usually going to be between plus 350 and plus 500.
That's what I'm saying. A fun parlay between plus 350 and plus 500. But to get it, I need 500 likes on the show. Also, go ahead and throw into the chat. What was your craziest finish today? Craziest game from a betting perspective? Go ahead and throw that in there for us. Now, Maestro, let me come back to you because we have learned in our 3 years doing this NFL stuff that people love betting on quarterback stuff. Like there's so many different quarterback bets to make. A very simple one from the chat. Who will have more passing yards tonight? Dak or Tom Brady? Who would you like in that?
Well, what are the odds on that?
Don't have any odds. Let's say it's -110. Let's say it's even.
I'll go with Tom Brady.
Okay.
I'll go with Tom Brady.
Any reason?
I think he's going to have more completions. But, Coach, my hesitation is I don't have a good feel for this game. The only thing that jumped out at me was Dalton Schultz. And the only other thing that jumped out at me was that this Dallas defense, even though they're better at home, last year was the most fortunate defense in terms of the turnovers they got. They had so many returns for touchdowns. They had so many big plays. The turnovers they got came at the most opportune times, and it's unlikely that can happen again. And we all know Trayvon Diggs is boom or bust. He get pick six or he gets burned. So Godwin expected to play. That's kind of the way I'm thinking it's going to go. But again, no clear lean on the side.
Yeah, be very careful at home because these are bets. There's a reason that these sports books give them to you. Yes, they're fun, but they're usually a 50-50 type of thing, and you don't want to bet a 50-50 bet. That's called a coin flip, and this is not a coin flip business. All right, Mikey, I'm coming back to you, and then, Alex, I have one for you. Dak, his rushing prop is only at 13.5 or 14. I do not have the current juice on that. Your thoughts on Dak with the legs?
I don't mind it, especially considering the receiving options that he'll have tonight. I think there could be opportunities for him to run. As far as the yardage itself, though, I'm trying to look it up in my projections and see because I do not have it off the top of my head. Sorry, y'all. Let's see.
That's all right.
No, you're good. What was the prop number? Prop is
13.5 or 14, depending on the book.
I've got it at 14.2, so I would most likely stay off of it. But if you're someone who likes it, I wouldn't stay off of it because it's at 14.2 and the number is there. If you've got something that you really like about it, it's one of those situations where I would be comfortable playing it if you have reasons why you like it. The number in the model will not take me off of that if you like it for a certain reason.
Okay, very good. Coming up in 10 minutes, we're going to do the VJM. First touchdown of the game contest. Who will be the first one in the club this year? I want you to tell me at the top of the hour, which player do you think, plus 1,000 or higher, will join the club tonight and score the first touchdown? Alex, I'm coming to you. From the chat, question, CD Lamb. There's been a lot of question marks around, will he become the number one guy? Will he be more than a slot receiver? His yardage prop tonight tells me they think he's going to be seeing a lot of targets. It's in the 69.5 or 70 range. Your thoughts on CD Lamb receiving yardage? Is he on mute? I think you're on mute, Alex. We're still working out these technical kinks.
Coach, how about now?
I got you now.
Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, so it's tough. I love me some CD Lamb. I think he's an excellent wide receiver. However, I do believe he's slightly miscast as a number one receiver. Not that he can't function as a number one receiver, but I think for him to be at his best, it's when he plays inside. It's when you have two good outside wide receivers and CD's able to kick inside. When you ask him to play primarily as an outside wide receiver, I think he's somewhat miscast in that role. So I do anticipate him struggling a bit. Like I mentioned, I think CD was at his best when you had Amari Cooper and Michael Gallup playing outside and CD was allowed to operate over the middle of the field, which is really where he was phenomenal. But yeah, as the focal point of the defense and playing a lot of outside, I don't particularly love him. That being said, he's going to get a massive, massive target share. So I'm certainly not fading him either. But yeah, I'm just going to wait and see what he looks like as the primary guy, Coach.
Okay, very good. Maestro, I'm coming to you. In the chat, there's been a boost, I believe, at FanDuel. I don't even care about the boost, but I care about this player who we haven't even talked about yet. He's Tom Brady's safety blanket, especially since Gronk is retired. And I'm talking about Mike Evans. We haven't even talked about Mike Evans yet. So to me, he is so underrated. His catch number is 5.5 plus 132. His yardage is 66.5 minus 125. Do you like either side of that?
I like him to score a touchdown because that's what he always does, and Brady always looks for him down low. He's so tall, he's almost impossible to defend when they get close to the goal line. So I'd be interested in his anytime touchdown number.
Okay, very good. Now, there's some new names this year. We saw it today on a lot of teams. There's a lot of young players coming in and making statements. Now, this is a name, and I'm coming back to you, Mikey, Noah Brown. His yardage and his catches are pretty low, but people are asking, and it's juiced really high. I need to know why. Catches over 2.5, but it's minus 165 in that area. What do we think about Noah Brown tonight?
Yeah, I'd prefer an alternate line. I wouldn't want to lay that kind of juice on it personally.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that it's a player that's incredibly difficult to forecast. I would say that I lean over on both numbers, but you can see that there's pretty significant juice on both of the numbers as well. I think it's part of the reason why we all like Dalton Schultz so much, right? It's CeeDee Lamb and Dalton Schultz. And after that, it's, things are pretty thin on that side of the ball. So I do lean over on both of these props. They're very gettable numbers, especially here at 32 yards. Maybe a situation where you can consider just taking the longest reception at 16.5. But I'm definitely not playing unders on him.
Yeah, that'd be very, very difficult. What's your thoughts, Alex? Because I'd love getting your takes, especially on guys that maybe people who have played before have never bet on before or don't really know that well, like a Noah Brown, for instance.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see who emerges as the third option in the passing game. Is it going to be Noah Brown, Jalen Tolbert, very impressive rookie that was flashing over the offseason and throughout the preseason at times. As I mentioned, Tony Pollard, I think he's going to be featured in the passing game. I could see him sort of functioning as kind of like a hybrid slot receiver running back like he played in college. But yeah, as far as it's going to be hard to determine where those targets are going to go. I think it's very safe to assume that CeeDee is double-digit targets, Dalton Schultz likely in that 8 to 10 to 12 range, and then after that, it's pretty much anyone's guess. So I think the Cowboys are actually kind of waiting to see who's going to step up in that role. Since Michael Gallup is inactive tonight, he is due back soon. But yeah, Noah Brown could potentially be Jalen Tolbert or the running back Tony Pollard. So I'm taking a wait and see approach personally.
See, I think it plays into what Maestro was just talking about, is that it's really hard to get a gauge on what either team is going to do. We just don't know. And if that's the case, what does Mikey always tell you? You don't have to bet on everything. You don't. Maestro, let me come to you, and I'm going to switch gears just a little bit. We know people love betting on big names. That's usually how you get in trouble. I'm seeing in the chat, a lot of people are throwing out the Julio Jones name. You, at least at my book, you can't even get a prop on Julio Jones. Why should we be very careful in putting any cheese on Julio Jones?
I mean, the reports are positive. You never want to buy into these, but people are saying he looks like the old Julio Jones, and that's what I heard. I heard that from reporters covering Tampa. So, Brady loves those old vets. But yeah, I mean, I'm staying away because he could go across the middle and just come up limping, and that's it.
That's always the worst. Also, while we have a minute, we got 4 minutes till the top of the hour. We're going to do the VJM, and we will redo our best bets for anybody coming in at the top of the hour. But I would love, since it's week 1, Alex, to kind of give people, we have so many new people coming to the early edge, your philosophy on why unders are way more profitable than overs.
Well, if you look at it just from a historical standpoint, Coach, unders actually hit at a much higher percentage than over bets. I think with props close to a 58% clip over past 3 to 4 seasons. Back when I was first dabbling in player props, unders were hitting at such a frequent rate, you could pretty much close your eyes, pick the highest projected players, play them all under, and you would have a pretty decent amount of success. That's somewhat shifted in recent years. The books have adjusted. That being said, there's just a lot more ways for an under to cash, whether it be a player playing poorly, getting reduced playing time, coach pulling them, getting demoted, getting injured. There's just so many more ways that an under can essentially win. So just by default, it's where the sharpest action tends to be, especially if you're looking at like historically as well. So just a lot more ways that an under can go right than go wrong.
Speaking of that, let me come to you, Mikey, because the chat, they're throwing out a name that I may be on a little bit later on for the VJM. I'm just saying, when you've got a Chris Godwin who has been battling injuries and you just don't know, people love to hope. What happens when you hope and bet on a prop like a Chris Godwin?
You hope it's your lucky day, honestly, or you've got some good intelligence on some of the reports and what kind of usage they're looking at. Look, it's okay to speculate. Like, this number is low enough that he can obtain it in 2 catches. That there's no doubt about that. I think it's pretty glaring that, number one, there's a number available still, and it's that low. It should make you be a little cautious. I would probably play the under if I had to play it. But I'm not going to play it. I'd much rather wait. And if for some reason he looks great and we have signs that say he's not going to be limited in game in any way, then I think that there would create opportunities live betting props, because it would not only impact his own number, but his teammates' numbers as well.
Yeah.
But as of right now, I want no part of it. But if you asked me, you told me I had to play it, I would play the under.
All right. He only has numbers at certain books. My book, he does not. But Milton in the chat, thank you, Milton. Over 36.5. That's the yardage you were talking about, Mikey. Minus 131. So if you're so inclined, but I would listen to Mikey, because he is one of the sharpest minds in America. And when you have a player, just because he's a big name, they overpaid for him. $6 million is overpayment for Julio Jones. There's a reason why Tennessee let him go. Sometimes they go over that cliff. Be very, very careful. All right. You know what time it is. It's my favorite time of the show. We have hit the top of the hour. It's 8 o'clock in the East, 5 o'clock in the West, where I am sitting right now. And it is 7 o'clock in the Central Time Zone, where Nashville, Tennessee is. And Mikey, we named this segment because of you. For people who don't know, on a whim last year, this very night, the first Sunday night game of the year, I said, hey, Mikey, do you have a player that can score the first touchdown of the game? He's like, Van Jefferson plus 4,000. Guess who scored the first touchdown of the game? Van Jefferson, which then out of it was born the Van Jefferson Memorial first touchdown of the game competition. And we take it very, very seriously. So the rules are, if you want to play in the chat, it's got to be plus 1,000 or higher. We don't do the chalk like, you can't pick Cooper Kupp. It's got to be somebody plus 1,000 or higher. Mikey, you're up first. Who are you taking tonight?
I am going with one Dak Prescott. We're going to have our first rushing touchdown from a quarterback of the season. You'll see this happen 2 to 3 times throughout the season, where a quarterback will have the rushing touchdown to start the game. That is what I think we see here tonight. Look, big game for Dak. We know that he is mobile enough. He's big enough. Yes, they have Zeke. Yes, they have Pollard. Tough to run through, between the tackles there. I just think this is a great spot for Dak. So I'm going Dak Prescott on his legs.
I'm already seeing it in my head. First and goal from the 2. Fake it to Zeke. End around. Naked bootleg. Cash the ticket. Oh, if that happens, it's going to drive me bananas. I need to get in the club, damn it. I need to get in the club. Next up, I think the only person that wants to be in the club more than me, it's Alex. Alex, you're up, big boy.
Coach, yeah, I want to get in on my own accord. That's why I'm going Dalton Schultz. I have to give credit to Larry. He did submit Dalton Schultz before me, but I love Dalton Schultz. I'm all in on him. Obviously love his receptions and his receiving yards tonight. But yeah, Dalton Schultz, to me, he's the best red zone weapon the Cowboys possess. Scored 8 touchdowns last year. Has great chemistry with Dak. I think he's going to score the first touchdown tonight, Coach.
Hey, Mikey, would you ever, let's say Dalton Schultz hits, okay? They can't even brag about it. You know what I mean? They can't even brag about it.
I'll be bragging a lot, Coach.
Oh, are you going to be bragging with Maestro? Are you going to be saying, oh, we did it together?
Coach, I will take what I can get. If I found a VIP pass on the ground, picked it up, pretended like it was mine, strolled right in the club. I'm good with it, coach. As long as I get into the club, it doesn't matter to me, coach. So happy to ride Larry's coattails here.
All right. Well, let's let Larry give his take on why you think at plus 1,200 the Cowboys tight end will be dancing first tonight.
Yeah, Coach, I do feel bad about it. I much rather give out a 40-1 or at least 20-1. But I just think, 8 touchdowns last season, the dearth of options that he has to go to, especially in the red zone, that Dak, if he doesn't run it in, will be targeting Dalton Schultz.
Okay, fair enough. I just don't know how I feel about two people picking the same guy that I respect so much. And I'm talking about Schultz, not you two. Okay, I'm going to go with Chris Godwin. I think tonight it's going to be one of those nights where you're going to be throwing to guys that you trust. And I think Chris Godwin, because of the injuries, may not come into the game till a little bit later, maybe in the first drive. He'll come in when it's inside the 20. And I think Tom Brady, he trusts him. He likes him. Plus 1,100, sweet spot. I love it. Now, I don't believe AB is here. So he's not going to show his face. But we know the jeweler is here. Jeweler, show your face. Where are you at? There he is. Oh, there he is. Now, we just bagged on Julio Jones for about 5 minutes. And that's who you're going with tonight, big boy. Explain yourself.
I mean, I didn't hear too much bagging from Larry, at least my hopeful reading into it. But you do know what they say about hope. It is the hope that kills you if you watch Ted Lasso. Look, let's take Julio Jones. Let's buy all the Buccaneer beat writer masterful storytelling that this is a renaissance or renaissance, as some might call it, that he's coming back. He can tweak his leg, that hamstring, that thigh, as long as it happens, in the third quarter after he scores the first touchdown of the game. Whenever Tom Brady looks for a veteran, he finds Julio Jones, they connect. I still like the Cowboys to win the game. So, a little dumb on my end for that, but whatever. Let's get it.
Julio Jones. I did. Yeah, I did the same thing.
I mean, yeah, you're getting Julio Jones at a number with a 1 in front of it. I'm going to be a sucker and fall for it.
By the way, you're throwing people off. No hat and no glasses for you today.
I know. I actually tried to clean up for a change. My
looks
wife
like a young Tom Cruise.
He does. Where are we? By the way, jeweler, where are we at on the likes? Are we at 500?
Ooh, 497.
497.
Coach, I think we need to call it right there. Unfortunately, I don't. Since we didn't get it to 500, I don't think you can give out the donkey.
Well,
yeah, that's a dang shame.
Well, here's what we're gonna do, because I have one more player in the VJM to tell you about. So if we can get 3 more likes in the next 30 seconds, we'll give it out. If we don't, we're not. So AB, he's on Tony Pollard tonight at plus 1,200. All the reasons that we've talked about. I think he's going to become the number 1 option for the Cowboys this year. Zeke's going to be number 2, and especially inside the 20, this guy can catch it or he can run it. Great double threat, Tony Pollard for AB. Did we make it?
532 and climbing. Hey, 700 and you get those Madden codes.
That's right. All right. So we have qualified for the donkey. We need about 170 more. We'll give out the Madden codes for Xbox and for PlayStation. But in the meantime, this man has been sitting on not 1 donkey parlay, but 2. So which one is he going to grace us with tonight? Mikey, the floor is yours.
All right, we're going to go with the bigger one here at plus 625. We're taking the Cowboys on an alternate spread, plus 12.5. We're going over 39.5 alternate total in the game. Then we're taking the lowest alts on CeeDee Lamb, Dalton Schultz here. Julio Jones, little sidebar here. I thought we were talking about Chris Godwin earlier in terms of limiting him and playing unders, not Julio. So I do like Julio at this number at 19.5. Mike Evans over his alternate number of 54.5, and then Leonard Fournette 44.5 over on his rushing yards, plus 625 as we see a few points scored in this game tonight.
Jeweler, you must feel a little bit better now that you've got the genius riding you with Julio Jones. That's got to make you feel better.
That always makes me feel good.
All right, so there is the donkey. Let's leave it up there for a few more seconds so you guys can all get it in. It is 8:07. Kickoff is in about 13. Is Sunday night Is it 8:15 or 8:20 on Sunday night? Is it 8:15 tonight or 8:20? I'm not sure. I actually didn't even look. But we only have a few minutes left, so we need to recap. It is
8:20.
What is it? 8:20. All right. We got 5 extra minutes. Great. So here's what I want to do. I want to recap because a lot of people came in at the top of the hour. So let's recap our best bets, Mikey and Dalton Schultz. For those of you just tuning in, we're taking a very conservative approach to tonight. And if you watch games this afternoon, you know why. Because it was craziness. Mikey, start us off.
Yeah, I'm going Dalton Schultz. I'm going over 50.5 receiving yards here. You might be able to find it at 48.5 at one book. I believe FanDuel had that for a few moments anyway. But I like this spot. He had a really healthy target share last year, and that should only increase as the competition for targets has definitely decreased for him, especially in this particular matchup, as tight ends do get targeted quite a bit against this Tampa defense. So let's go Dalton Schultz over 50.5.
By the way, Mikey, apparently at Bet365, you can get Dak Prescott to score that first touchdown at plus 3,300. How about that?
It's a nice number if you shop around for sure. Nice.
Damn right it is. Really, really nice. Thank you, Jose, for texting that in to us. Allison, I see you in the chat. Let's go is right. Vincent, I see you too. All right, Larry and Prop Stars are all in on Dalton Schultz tonight in more ways than one. Maestro, I'll let you go first, and then Alex. Why do you like Schultz so much?
Yeah, I just want to talk a little bit about something that could affect Schultz positively, and that's no Tyron Smith. We hadn't talked about that. You know, the massive offensive lineman tackle for the Cowboys, who's so valuable. If you go back and look at all of the games they've played without him, the rushing, the yards per carry goes down, the sacks go up. Basically, Prescott is going to have less time to throw. And to me, that could help the tight end because obviously he's running a lot of short routes over the middle. That's why I liked the receptions a little bit better than yards. I mean, obviously I'm pulling for everything to hit and for that first touchdown, but I feel that Tyron Smith is going to be a big deal, his absence tonight.
Alex, back that up.
Yeah, I love Dalton Schultz over 4.5 receptions coming off a career season, has a strong connection with Dak as well. Only Mark Andrews and Travis Kelce recorded more catches last year. So this guy is definitely ascending up and up. He ran a route on 78% of Dak's dropbacks and had a 1.52 yards per route run with a 7.1 average depth of target. 19th in DVOA against tight ends is this Tampa Bay defense. They gave up the 5th most receptions to opposing tight ends as well, so it's a good matchup on paper. Then I've got Ezekiel Elliott under 71.5 combined rushing and receiving yards. This is a combo prop. Larry mentioned no Tyron Smith. He is an all-world left tackle. That's a big loss. Zeke, to me, his arrow is pointing down. His numbers have basically declined year after year. He's gotten less and less explosive as well. Routinely outplayed by Tony Pollard, who is going to get the majority of the passing down work, which is why I like attacking this, why I like attacking the combo line and not just the rushing total. But I do like the rushing under as well. This is an excellent Tampa Bay run defense. Gave up the fewest yards to opposing running backs last season, just 63 yards per game. That is as stout gets, coach. That's why I love Zeke under 71.5 rushing and receiving yards.
How low would you play it?
I'd play it down to 68.5.
Okay, very good. Just so happens my book just put it up at 68.5. So I'm going to play it right there. All right, RJ White, he's on the under 50.5 in the game tonight. We've seen some games go bonkers today. We've seen other teams struggle to score. So bet that at your own trepidation, and then from Sportsline itself. And by the way, if you're not a Sportsline member, I'm going to do you a solid. Use a promo code EARLY, and you can get 30 days for free. You can try out all of our cappers, our simulations, all the articles, everything you get for one very low price of $10 a month. You can't beat that. You just can't beat that. Now, we're not going to get to 700 likes tonight. We don't just give stuff away. You've got to earn it, and then we will. So tomorrow night, if we get to a certain number, whatever we choose, because we can get to 700. Last year, we had one show, we did 1,000 likes. So everybody, when you log in, hit that like button, and we will reward you in some way, shape, or form. All right. 8 minutes. And I think on these first week games, we need to let people get the bets in. So we got the screen up there, and we're never going to stretch. So we'll go around and let the guys tell you what they're most looking forward to. Then you can go get your bets in and enjoy the game, which starts now in 7 minutes from right now. So, Mikey, start us off. What are you most looking at tonight in this game, Bucs-Cowboys Sunday Night Football?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Dalton Schultz having a big night for everyone's sake here. And then I'm also looking forward to see what kind of pressure the Cowboys can put on Tom Brady. We're projecting them to be able to provide some of the interior pressure, which is what bothers Tom Brady the most. So I'm looking to see that, and then what kind of chemistry he has with his receiving core, and how healthy is Chris Godwin? How many snaps will he play? Let's get a nice competitive football game.
I only need him to play one, Mikey. I only need him to play one down and be a target inside the 10. Alex, talk to me.
I'm excited to see this Tampa Bay offense has some new faces. We talked about Julio Jones. A guy we didn't mention that I do like quite a bit is Russell Gage. I'm interested to see how he works. He could be a very valuable player for Tom Brady because he does a lot of his work over the middle of the field, which is where Tom Brady feels most comfortable throwing to. So definitely someone to keep an eye out. If Julio didn't enter the picture, I was really, really hoping to take advantage of some early season lines from Russell Gage, but got to see how those targets are distributed. So just interested, and hopefully we get a really good competitive game between two good teams.
Damn it, I am so pumped for this game. Maestro, bring us home.
I'm going to take a liberty with my 30 seconds, and then I haven't had a chance to tally up how everyone did today in terms of the experts, but there's a guy, you would call him a low-key savage, Brett Anderson. He's the NFL editor. He's quiet. He's unassuming. He went 23-9 last season, basically hit every pick in the playoffs. Today, he just starts with a quiet 2-0, Texans and Steelers. He loves dogs. Those were pretty much covers most of the way. That's a guy to look out for, Brett Anderson. And it's always late in the week. I'm like, Brett, we need your picks. Get your picks. He's like, they're coming. And he doesn't flood the board. He's just a couple of picks, but the guy is very efficient.
The hardest thing to do is to not bet too many games. I struggle with it. Everybody struggles with it. And finding 2 or 3 games sometimes is the better game plan. It really, really is. And today, those are 2 games and 2 teams that nobody was playing. Nobody. And they were ahead the entire game till the end, getting 7. So there was no sweat for either one of those games. So if you are a Sportsline member, you can get said expert as part of all of us. That's what we do. We're a team. We're a crew. We're here for you. So the game starts in 4 minutes. Go get all your bets in. This is as few a bets as you're ever going to see for any primetime game. We'll be back tomorrow night for Monday Night Football. Broncos, Seahawks, Russell Wilson. Damn. Russell Wilson returns to Seattle. Sometimes there's a lot of names in this head up here. I don't know how I remember them all. So let's not waste any more time. There's only one thing left to do, and I believe you all know what that is. You've got your marching orders. Let's take all of these Sunday night tickets straight to the pay window. For my entire crew, love them all. Maestro, Mikey, Prop Stars, Jeweler on the 1s and the 2s. I am the coach. Tell all your friends at the end of every Sunday, just come right here. We'll talk about the games in the afternoon. Look forward to Sunday night, and we'll do it together on the early edge. Good luck.